So the topic for today is, oh my brain, 5 senses or more. Do we have more than 5 senses, and can you name some? So the basic ones are sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. And what if I told you that by the end of today, I might be able to convince you that we don't just have the sixth sense, but we have 20 senses.
Oh my gosh.
20 senses that you would have not known. But it's up for debate. So, Ali, do you want to give Gabe the megaphone and say, Gabe, can you think of anything more than the 5 senses? Hello and welcome.
And yes, any experiences you guys want to share around senses as well, feel free.
Yes.
Gabe, megaphone's yours.
Hi
and welcome.
I didn't know we had more than 5 senses, but if I had to guess, I guess it would be like telekinesis or telepathy.
Okay.
Extra gifts, awesome.
So extrasensory perceptions on whether you can talk to people in your mind or telekinesis move things. But listen, if there's somebody with telekinesis or telepathy powers, don't hide away. Go to BBC, get yourself certified. You could like become an instant multimillionaire and will finally get some extra information out there. Not what I'm going for with the type of senses. I want to go more around what is more common that we all have. So,
Empathy.
so I know you have.
Empathy and sympathy.
Did you say empathy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's not on the list, but you know what? Let me add it as well, and let's go. Let's go with it.
I love that
Empathy.
one.
It's a very nice one.
How would you define empathy, Gabe?
To feel what the other person is feeling and to be in their shoes. It's like you can't explain what it's like. You can only feel it.
All right. Awesome. And with empathy comes a lot of different feelings involved as well, which you can consider as different senses. Thank you, Gabe. Good start. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Oh My Brain. The topic GAMS. Hello and welcome. How many senses do you think we have?
I can't give a number, but one of the examples I thought of was maybe gut feeling.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Would
a
you
good
like
one.
to elaborate?
Yeah, elaborate. Which part of the gut feeling?
Well, it's not really something that you see with it's not one of the 5 main senses, but it is something you can identify and you use to make decisions. Like when I see something, I know that, hey, I can see this or I cannot see this, right? There is a yes or a no. But based on gut feeling, you can also make a certain decision on whether you go for something or not.
Awesome. And also, you know, it's kind of instinctual from evolution purposes that we can pick up subconsciously the certain gut feelings. So we can walk into a room and know whether there is danger that presents us. We can walk into a room knowing that there is love inside a room, and that can also possibly be gut feeling.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Could we call that intuition?
I think we can call that intuition,
yeah, you
Ali.
could call it intuition too.
Absolutely. All right.
GAMS, could you repeat what you said? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You could, yeah, I mean, you could call it intuition too, but I think intuition has to do more with. So gut feeling for me would be more like in the current moment, I feel a certain, and that helps me decide on something. Whereas the intuition, I would say, is more on deciding for the future.
Perfect. Thank you so much, GAMS. So just so you know, for those who've just popped in, the 3 of you, we're talking about different senses that we have that is a little bit further than what we learn at school with the basic 5 senses. And by the end of this event, I'm going to try and elaborate on not just the sixth sense, but 20 different senses that we have. And this is being recorded, so you can go back, listen to it, and say, "Geez, this guy talks shit," or, he actually made a bit of sense. It's completely up to you how you would, elaborate on it. So let's go to Black Marmalade. Black Marmalade, can you name more than 5 senses that you can think of? Hello and welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So, okay, thank you for the welcome and the introduction. It was super interesting when I saw the event. So, okay, let's think one moment. Okay, the thing is that I would say that a six possible sense, it could be when you coordinate more than one sense together and obtain something like some kind of derivative, some like plus one. I don't know if it is clear what I meant. I
say that
heard
again.
that you were speaking about intuition a moment ago, no?
Yes.
And what I'm thinking is that partially this intuition is also given by when you use like the sense that you have, but in a different manner than the common one. The way that you can use more sense together to actually find out something new. For example, let me try to explain easier in clear way. I'm dyslexic, no? And I have actually different learning disability. This is called learning disability, which is not actually correct, because learning disability is not actually a disability. It's that my brain and the brain of people that has learning disability, it works simply in different way. So we use the same thing that everyone use, but how we use and how we have, let's say, certain vision, it's different from the others. Sometimes it's easier for us to think out of the box. So I believe that the sense that we have, if we use in kind of different way, we can develop and use like this can be exponential, possibilities.
Absolutely.
Like we can
this is
evolve.
my idea. I
All
don't know
right.
if it is clear, but
Yes.
sure, going on, it will be more clear.
So far, the type of sense, the extra senses that we have going is all within the mind. So we've got empathy, someone said empathy, someone said gut intuition, and now you're talking about the actual thought process that goes on. They are definitely a form of sense because they are apart from the 5 normal senses. So thank you so much, Black Marmalade. We'll definitely take that into account. I just want
to add something before we carry on. I'll let you finish, and then I just want to add something after you, Tim.
Oh, yes. So for those who've popped onto the couch, we're talking about if we have more than 5 senses. By the end of this event, I'm going to try and elaborate on possibly 20 senses that we have. And they're not just internally in the mind, but everyday type of occurrences that we live in throughout life. Ali, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to add something to what Black Marmalade said. I'm a teacher, and I have had a lot of dyslexic students, and I still do have. And it's interesting what you said, because I also don't believe that it's a disability. I just believe that you guys use different senses in learning, and compared to everybody else. For example, average people might use their 3 basic senses with learning, while the others are more dormant. They don't use them as much. Whereas you guys that are so-called dyslexic, which I also disagree with, that it's a disability, you guys just focus on other senses. Like, for example, one thing I've realized with my dyslexic students, they are more practical. For example, they learn easier just by speaking. reading, for example, can be a challenge for them. Hearing can be a challenge, and concentrating. So I also don't see it as a disability. And it's amazing because when you focus on the right senses, I've seen some of these dyslexic students get such good grades, even better than your average hardworking student. So yes,
And-
I love the fact that you brought it up, and it's important for people to know that.
And that's why I said that maybe the sense that you're talking about is the thought processes, because the way you process information and take in does not make it a disability, but it makes it your way of manifesting reality and making sense of how things are. And you might find that there are positive and advantages within your brain that works much better than an average brain, for example, as Ali was saying. All right, let's head over to Miguel. Miguel, hello and welcome. Can you name more than 5 senses? Feel free to speak or pass. Okay, Miguel, we are giving you the megaphone.
No?
Completely up to you.
Right.
You look very comfortable inside that couch, though. Miguel, yes, no? You want to speak or pass? No? All right. Raise your hand if you would like to speak on the left side if you haven't spoken yet, and we will definitely give you the opportunity. We've just given you the allow hand raises. Let's go to Beatrix.
Marmalade, would you like to add anything else?
Raise your hand, Marmalade, if you would like to raise anything else. Ali, let's head over to Beatrix.
Yes. Megaphone is yours.
Hi, Beatrix.
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Purple Moon.
Hey,
Nice.
I think I had the
Nice
impression that Miguel could not mute himself for some reason. But anyway, I don't know if how long you've been on this question since I just got here, but I'm thinking that the sense of touch can be divided into pressure, pain, and touch. You know, like a feather stroking your arm. Those are all distinct. Know that.
Okay. Would you
That's all
like
I
to
have to say.
elaborate on that? So pressure.
Well, like if you have a local anesthesia, you can still feel pressure, though you can't feel any pain. So there's different sensors, I guess you could call them, in your skin that some feel pressure, some don't.
Interesting. Yes, so the perception of feeling pain is known as nociception. And people believe that it's a different sense to actual feeling. But very interesting. Thank you. So nociception and pressure. So we're adding on to the list. Ali, let's go to Phase the artist.
Before we go, let's go. I want to try give the megaphone to Miguel again. I think he would like to speak. Also.
Miguel.
Let's try again.
Yes, you are on the air.
Miguel, hi, welcome.
Let's
There we
try
go.
again.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Loud and
All right.
clear.
Welcome.
I was incompetent. I had myself muted. Okay, so one of the senses that I would consider is that physical discomfort that you feel. So let's say you're talking to someone, you just said something super weird or whatever. Feel like a physical sense of discomfort. Like maybe you feel like goosebumps, or you get like a chill run down your spine, or you get super sweaty when you're talking to someone maybe you don't know, or you mess up when talking to someone. You get that feeling of physical discomfort. So I'd consider that to be possibly a sense.
Okay. Can you think of any other senses?
Not that I can think of, no.
So the sense that you're going for is instinctually something like goosebumps. That you get the triges. How do you say it, Ali? You get the rising hairs on your
Yes.
skin
Yes.
and your arms. And if you think about it, cats also get a form of goosebumps when they get scared. and yet we do it instinctually. It's quite amazing that subconsciously there are other senses that kick in. Awesome. Thank you, Miguel. Okay, now let's go to Phase the Artist. I'll write that down. Discomfort, awkwardness, goosebumps.
Hey, hi, welcome.
Hello there. One thing I have, like, since I've been in VR, I developed this. It's called Phantom Sense. So, like, when people touch me in game, I can feel it in real life, and it's kind of awkward. And yeah, I think that my brain, like, tricking my senses into like someone actually touching me. Would that be considered a sense as well?
Well,
Power of the mind, wow.
Yeah, I mean, phantom senses, there can be two things. The first one is that we are, I don't know if you've seen the experiment where they took a person's hand and they put it inside a type of tunnel in a table, and then they put a fake hand coming from the other side, making it look like it is his hand. So now he has a perception that his hand is on the table, but he has the vision of an actual dummy on the hand. And so what they would do is they would then stroke each hand with a brush, and after a couple of seconds they would take a hammer and smash the dummy's hand, and he would feel a form of pain from the phantom hand that has just been hit with the hammer. And so it makes sense that there would be phantom sensations inside a world, you know, like old space in a virtual world. Some people that have lost their limbs still get itches down where their legs are, or their phantom pains and all that. So definitely, I think that is a form of sense, other than the feel or touch sense. Thank you.
All right.
Perfect. Let's go to St. Justin because we skipped St. Justin Alley.
St. Justin, hi, welcome.
Hi. So the question is, we have 5 senses. Can you think of any more?
I would probably go for biofeedback would be another sense.
Wait, what is that?
Or
Sorry?
something. I'm just, you know, the energy that's within your body, the spirit, whatever you call it, spirit, energy, electromagnetic energy, biofeedback, whatever you call it.
Okay, all right.
That would be probably a sixth sense.
Well, I'm adding that as my 21st sense. I'm going to try and mention 20 senses that we have, and I wasn't even thinking about electromagnetics and energy in your body. Very nice one. Do you want to mention?
It's amazing when you become aware of it as well. Sorry.
Oh,
St.
definitely.
Justin, I'll be quiet. Please take over.
Well, the item that was just discussed, where the phantom, you know, senses come into play. A lot of people believe that the brain is kind of calling out back to the fingers. It's trying to, even though that the hand is not there, the brain is still wired to believe that the hand is still physically there. So regardless if the hand is actually, or the conversation, or the give it like a phone call, and you're trying to reach out to somebody and you have the wrong number, you're still going to call it. Even though that's the wrong number, you're still going to call it until you figure out what the right number is. From your brain's perspective, it doesn't know any different. It's still going to call out to the fingers. It just has to realize that it's not there, and then that's where you get the phantom sensation.
Super interesting.
Awesome.
No, I like it. And also, if you think about it, everything that we feel, touch, sense, everything does happen in the brain, and our body is nothing more than a vessel with all the nerves going through, sending messages that when there is certain elements that are being touched, it is then sent straight to the brain where we feel. So it makes sense that when you lose an arm or leg or even sight, that people who lose sight continue dreaming in colors, and they can't actually sleep because of the bright colors that they are constantly seeing with blind people. So yeah, we live inside our brains. Our brains manifest our reality. Thank you, St. Justin. Now let's go to Halion Aeon. Hello and welcome.
Alien, hi and welcome.
Hi there.
Love the new avatar.
Yes.
Change the hairstyle.
I saw the name and I was looking around. I'm like, where is he? And I had to go and click on everybody to try and figure you out.
Well, I've had medium hair, very short hair, and I thought, well, I'll go for the slightly longer one. Never mind.
You almost look Japanese.
Okay. It is, yes, I think it is a Japanese one. Never mind. People say I look like a samurai. Okay. My mum always tells me the story about at school when she was asked what is the sixth sense, human sixth sense. She said common sense. So
I love it.
which not a lot of people have. Anyway.
The best
So,
one.
you could say that one. There's something, well, a couple of things which may relate to. I can't quite see when you've got your five senses up there. You've got the ear one. I assume it's audio. Is that what it says, or does it say sound?
That says hearing.
Hearing, okay. So, but also the ear can detect your orientation.
Aha.
So, and it can cause a lot of problems for people. So there's all the orientation, which is the inner ear, and that can cause. So, it tells you whether you're upright, move, and motion as well, as the stuff sloshes around in the little
in the
coily
vestibula
thing in the inner ear. Yeah, that's right. And another one which is still a bit speculative is that we might have magnetic sense. Now we know that birds can tell their direction by, compared to the magnetosphere of the Earth. Some people have speculated, and there have been some experiments as to whether humans can do it. So if you put somebody in the middle of a room and spin them around and then ask them to, black room, to say what direction they're in, there may be a slightly more than random ability to tell direction, but nobody's ever actually found a magnetic sense organ. I think that it's possible. I've mentioned, I think, in this forum before that if you put, as you were just saying over there with St. Justin, that if you induce strong electromagnetic magnetism into the brain with a headset on, you can certainly induce feelings, but that's not really a sense. It's just that you're inducing currents into various parts of the brain, and you can make people feel as though they're being watched, for example. There's sort of certain ones there. I dare say also things like electrostatic fields. So if you go up very near a high voltage, okay, your hair starts standing on end. You could argue, is that a sense as such? But certainly people, if you're standing near a very high voltage, you can sense that. So
until you stick your finger in it, then you really sense it.
Yeah, zip. Oh gosh, I remember at school having the Van de Graaff generator, and then we had various kids on stools, and then somebody went around with a stick going zip 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 zip, and I love that. But never mind. So yes, you can create havoc with that sort of thing. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to add that to another sense, orientation, the inner ear vestibula. So that means we are down to 22 different senses, and I haven't even mentioned most of them. So I'm looking forward to letting you guys know of what my thoughts are with how many senses we have. You're going to take off your headset saying, "We are fucking remarkable." Next, we can go to Aziz. Z, hello and welcome to Oh My Brain. The topic is, do we have more than 5 senses, and can you name some?
Hey, I missed the majority of the conversation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, finally. I'm so happy to see you once again. I've been a while, like away for a while.
Likewise.
Like your new outfit. Like I just jumped in. I saw the like Ali and Timon. I'm like, where's Helia? And then I recognized you by voice. I was wondering what other people mentioned before, so I don't repeat myself and like everybody else. But if you ask me this question, I would say that I have two options. Like the first one is probably that I always felt like if somebody enters the room, kind of feel their presence. And I'm not sure if it's noise or something. Even if I wear a headset, like I hear that people are entering the room. That's why I was always surprised when in horror movies they could walk into the room and there's behind them somebody's I'm like, how come you didn't feel them? Like that's so strange. And yeah, and another one that comes to my mind, there's a book by Oliver Sacks. I think he was a psychologist in the early 20th century, and he mentioned what was it, bodiless Christie, like one case with a lady. She was very pretty and young, but there was an interesting case that she suddenly lost the ability to move unless she could see her limbs and like she could see her body. So I think it's called proprioception or something like that. Like when I bet somebody like Black Marmalade knows that. So it's kind of feeling your body in space, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So it's something that is connected to your bodily feelings. So basically, it helps you understand where are you in space. So that way you can understand, and that is combined with you seeing your body. So that way you kind of have this perception, like where's the border between you and the world. Yeah, basically. Could you mention what are the other 22 senses that I missed?
I haven't mentioned them yet, Azi. Basically, we've gone around listening to what everybody else has had to say, and we've gotten things like empathy, gut, different thought processes, the way the brain goes about it, intuition, goosebumps, yes, energy in the body, electromagnetic feelings.
Yeah, I heard that one.
What else? I think pressure. Someone said pressure. So yeah, we're doing well. And then orientation, which is based on the inner ear vestibular pressure inside it. Yes, yeah. So you haven't missed out on much. Those were the main ones. And we're going to open the table. As soon as I'm done with mentioning the 22, then we can open the table and maybe you'll think of even more that we can add to the list. But perfect. Thanks, Azi.
Oh, cool. Pleasure to be back. Yeah.
Awesome. Remember, remember, Oh My Brain is once every 2 weeks, and Social Dilemma is once a month. Moral Dilemma is once a month on Fridays. Tomorrow we have the Moral Dilemma.
Well.
Yes, tomorrow we have the Moral Dilemma, so make sure you join us. And then Ali's Awakened Awareness is generally on a Monday, I think once a month. All right.
Every 2 weeks. Monday.
Every 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Now let's head over to Mr. Chris. Now that you've heard from everyone, have you thought of an extra sense that you might have?
So listen to everyone else through the room so far. So one that I personally had was an internal body clock. It's remarkable in how you can essentially set yourself your own time to wake up, and reasonably enough, sometimes you might wake up at the right time, or you wake up 2 minutes before the alarm goes off. It's because it's a subconscious effect. But an internal body clock is one sense that it's not really used, but you can certainly subconsciously use it if it works. Going over to regarding the body sense, so we're talking about magnetism, and when someone, as you mentioned about when someone comes in the room, our body gives off energy in all forms, especially in infrared. So that's why you can look at a thermal camera and you can see the body as it is. And our own body can actually detect and feel that, because it's a bit like walking into the sun. You can see the sun because it's got photons, but it's also got infrared heat. So when someone walks in the room, you can sense them whether your eyes are closed or arms are crossed over or sleeping. You can still sense that person. I did have a third one, which was the original one I actually had, which was so we are all descendants. So if you was to go pre-descendants, you'd have such things such as like fight or flight. Those are all things that you live with every day, and you don't get away from those. They're genetically built into you. So I had three things there. One was following on from Azzy over there, and a couple other things in the room. Yeah, there you have it.
All right, so that is
Awesome.
so interesting. So you mentioned fight and flight, adrenaline. So it's almost like what we discussed earlier, saying that we can feel different energies of hot and cold, but also you can probably sense also hormones instinctually. The level of cortisol, you can tell if you've walked into a room and there's been love and nurture inside a room. You walk into a room, you can tell there's been an uncomfortable energy, fighting. You can also walk into a room and tell that there's, I'll call it old energy, but it's actually the hormones that are secreted from the elders to tell that these group of people are not fit for mating if we go back into evolution purposes. So that is actually a form of sense that I haven't even added to the list, and that is to base the feelings around energies with hormones.
Well, yeah, so yeah, that's very correct. I mean, your body gives off pheromones in all formal mammals. I mean, that's why dogs can understand when a woman's pregnant, when they're not pregnant, because they'll act differently due to the hormone that the body naturally releases.
And you can tell when generally, like when women are ovulating, you can get the sense of wanting to mate with them. Okay, let's go to. Yeah, I'm trying, Ellie. I'm trying. Let's. So if anyone who hasn't spoken and would like to speak, the topic is how many senses can you name? Can you name any other senses other than the basic 5? And Ali, before we just start picking people that we haven't spoken to, I want to go to you, and then I want to go to me.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts?
If we have more than 5 senses? Well, we have a sense of orientation, like a sense of knowing where we are. In the sense, for example, I'm busy driving. I seldom get lost. I wasn't raised in the country I'm in, but I always have a sense of I know where I'm going, even though I'm in an area where I have never been in. Interesting with the hormones. I think that was quite interesting where we can pick up on people's hormones. I mean, being a teacher, a lot of my students are teenagers, and they're at the phase of from being kids going into adolescence. You walk into the room and oh my gosh, you could just smell the hormones. Smell. I don't know if you can smell or sense them. I just use smell as a verb. And no, it is not a smell. It's a sense. I can pick up on it. Coming on to other senses, those were the light ones. So I do crystal healing. Okay, I generally pick up on people's energies and people's vibes. And what crystal healing is, you actually place crystals on the person's body, on their chakras, and I usually with my hand I scan over their body and I see where the chakras are imbalanced and I balance them. Okay, so I don't know if that goes into what Saint Justin said of electromagnetic, soul, or spiritual. I've got that sense, and there's another thing as well that the last 2-3 years that sense has been pretty much growing on me. So the earth has a certain frequency vibration, and a lot of times that vibration tends to increase, and it's called a Schumann resonance when we get a Schumann resonance spike. So sometimes the earth's vibration can increase, like for example it can spike from a solar storm or from activity from outer space, and when we have solar spikes I tend to pick up on that, and it sort of triggers different symptoms inside me. and I'm not aware that it's happening. So it's not conscious, as if, okay, it's full moon and then something bad happens. And I don't know about it. I just pick up on it. So I don't know if that's electromagnetic sensing over there. I don't know. Maybe Halion can elaborate on it later.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did I want to say? We may not necessarily, like, we may have eyes for eyesight, nose for smell. Those are our organs. But I think we have a lot of senses where the brain actually picks up on them. So it's sort of like our brain is multidimensional and picks up on all these little different things. So somebody said we may not have the organs to pick it up or something. So I think it's maybe the brain is responsible because it's like so multidimensional. So anyway, that's me. I'm not going to waffle on for too much. Tim, what about you? I'm so eager to hear the rest of those senses, all 22 of them.
Well, I know a few people, and by few I mean 2 people, that said that they can tell where north, east, west, south is, anywhere in a car or inside a house or anything, and I would actually test them, and I would get my compass out, and they would be able to tell. And that means that they were very aligned with the polarity and the magnetic resonance inside the from where the world is, because the world obviously has north-south poles that have this magnetic field going around it and protecting us from radioactivity and solar flares, and so maybe you do have a sense that is unexplainable, just like you can't explain how sharks feel electromagneticity inside the water and can base on where other animals are. Maybe you do have that awareness of the polarity, protons, and the ionization that occurs within certain things. And crystals most definitely have different forms of energy and their own polarity. If you go and examine, like if you go and put a couple of crystals on, some will be warm, some will be hot, cold, some will be freezing. So there is something going on, and you're definitely feeling that. So we can't deny it when, So just some food for thought.
If you guys want to sense that, I don't know, those of you that are more intuitive, if you guys ever have crystal shops around you and you walk past one, just go in and see, try pick up on that clarity in that shop. There's like such clarity in the shop because it's all the energy from the crystals. I see Ultra Funky's in the house as well. I don't know if we should give him the megaphone.
Yeah, definitely we can.
Before we go on and give off all those 22 senses, give everything away.
It's up to Ultra Funky. We do have a lot of new.
Give him the megaphone and see if he wants to say.
All right, Ultra Funky, hello. Would you like to mention any more than 5 senses that we have?
Oh, wow. Actually, I don't know if I can say more 5 senses. I would just wanted to tell this funny thing I did last week. I had a medium, and I'm an owner of a couple of old houses. And the funny thing was that the interaction I had through these buildings with people, sometimes anger, sometimes different, but I noticed that the mindset of the people I was communicating with was different than they usually was. So when I had this medium running around in the different buildings, I sent them to different locations, and on all these locations I had this really special interaction with people. They said that they sensed something, somebody there, and I got the feeling that I had people that was either weak or really like an antenna to collecting that energy from that entity, if we say like that, in the building. So I could really, even if I don't play around with these things, I could really spot that there were energies surrounding the house that put something over the conversation with the person that the person felt, or the person was in a different state of mind because they were exactly that spot, and that was quite fun. saying like the senses you get, you can connect it to the real life. You hear, you see, you understand, but there is something else that is involved in the conversation that you don't understand. Just a funny thing that just happened last week.
Yeah, and
so no senses that way, but there's a feeling that something is different that you cannot really say why. You just pick up.
Well, the question is, if you, for example, were not aware of the conversations and who they were inside the room, you closed your eyes, would you have picked it up? Because the other thing that causes senses is that we pick up 40,000 different signals subconsciously via body language before the person even opens their mouth. And consciously, we only pick up around 7 to 8 certain elements. You know, how the person's sitting, smiling, small things.
Yeah, I would say I probably would have, but I don't play around with these things, so I'm not open to it. You know, I decided not to be open to things, so I just like notice how other people react. Myself, it's just like I notice it, but I just walk through it. I never pick it up. I never lift the stone and look at it. I just continue through. This is the way I have decided to do my things, you know. But it's quite interesting when you have with professionals, mediums, that kind of stuff.
Sense unlocked, a new sense unlocked that I haven't even mentioned. Well, we haven't even mentioned. All right, Ali, are you ready?
Yes, shoot.
So, do we have more than 5 senses? Name some. So just from doing my little bit of research and listening to everybody in the room, I've come up with the idea that we have 23 different senses. And let's start off with the basics. So, and you can count them: sight, touch, hearing, taste, smell. Intuition, sense of time, which is also known as chronoception, where you have this biological clock that wakes you up, that tells you that it's around certain times. That is also a form of sense. Number 8 is balance. Pressure, you can tell of a high pressure and low pressure. Thermoception, to tell the difference between the temperatures, cold, hot, warm, lukewarm. Instinct, to have the...
Tim, we lost you there. You were at temperature?
And now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Instinct, danger, adrenaline, pleasure, nurture, panic, fear. These are also form of senses that we have, but they are more internal. Then emotions, happiness, sadness, anger. I believe that those are also senses. What about sound? To detect vibrations along a medium such as air and water, to be converted into sound. That's to convert the electrical vibrations into sound is incredible. Then there is something called proprioception, and that is to be able to know where your body parts are at any one time. That's amazing. If you really close your eyes, meditate, you'll be able to feel the parts of your body. And you know, when someone loses a leg, for example, they say, I can't feel my leg anymore. We wouldn't know that because subconsciously we are constantly feeling it. But if you can actually tell where parts of your body is. Gravity sense. So we can feel and sense that there is gravity. And anywhere you go, whether you're in the pool or if you go into space, zero gravity, you've got a sense of telling whether there's gravity. What about the pangs of hunger and thirst? You can tell that you're hungry. You can tell that you're thirsty. Those are senses. And then you have an internal GPS, which is a sense of direction to know where one thing is in relation to another, and where you know what to do in order to not get lost. So us that have evolved as species, we were evolved to go around in circles. And because the circles would take us back to where we started. And instinctually, we still do this today, that when we get lost, we tend to be going around in circles instead of going far in a certain direction. Then we have nociception, which is the perception of pain. Very different to the sense of feel, but you can actually tell by the different levels of pain. We are number 20 now, and that is the energy in your body that you can tell, and this is through an electromagnetic sense. 21, we have the base feelings of energies and hormones and pheromones around us. Orientation, so we can orientate ourselves with where we are, and this is done within the inner ear and in the vestibular. And then 23, we have the sense of alignment, which is aligning all of the vibrations inside our body. So those are the 23 senses, and that includes a lot of them that we've mentioned today from all over. And now I would like to open the table. Ali, did you enjoy that list?
Yes, I did. Very interesting.
All right.
Especially the level of pain. For example, I'm just saying this as a joke. Have you guys seen a guy with having flu, and then there's the woman having a baby? I'm just joking.
It's the same amount, same level of pain.
I'm talking about my brother, for example.
The guy becomes the baby.
Exactly, same amount.
Definitely.
A guy on flu.
All right, let's go to Halion
just
Aeon,
kidding.
who has raised his hand.
Yeah, okay. You're hearing me, are you? Yeah, good.
Yes.
No, I was just going to add something to the comment I made about the magnetic sense, potentially. And if it works the way we think it might, if there is some sort of magnetic element in our brains, like we know there is in certain birds, it would matter where you are on the latitude of the Earth, broadly, because the magnetic poles are, are in the region of the geographic poles. So the magnetic field is almost vertical. If you're actually over the magnetic poles, the field lines are going into the Earth. So they're not not directional over the ground very much. But over, for example, Africa, where we did evolve, they're more or less horizontal. So if we have developed a sense like that, then it would have more likely been of more use and more accuracy in Africa. But if you ask the same question of somebody, an Inuit or something, they may not have quite the same ability to detect that, depending on where they are on the Earth's surface. So it was really just that it will vary depending on where in the Earth you are, and magnetic.
I want to add something to that. So in Greece, there are a lot of points where the magnetism is stronger. So to give you an example, we were driving many years ago, I think with my dad. And at some stages, while you're driving, you actually feel the car pulling off so easily. Like there's absolutely no strain on the car. And this is like a straight road. And then coming back, for example, in the opposite direction, you feel as if the car is just taking so much strain. And it's just amazing because I think some days the magnetism or something, I don't know what it is, can influence us as well, where we actually feel much heavier ourselves. I don't know if that's got to do with gravity or magnetism, but I think we also we kind of do pick up on that as well.
Yeah. Something can I just add again in relation to this is that dowsing. A lot of people poo-poo it, but a lot of people seem to be able to sense underwater flows and things. And there's speculation about how it might work. Again, it might be related to, because water affects magnetic fields again, and it might be that there's a slight. I think they say when they're carrying the the wire, you put it like that, and if it's absolutely horizontal, then it doesn't go anywhere. There might be a slight effect on your your muscles if you sense a change in magnetic field over a stream of water or something. It seems to
Because
work.
we're made
I
up
mean,
of
it's
water,
not.
which is logical. So the body is 70%
Yeah, that's right.
water.
But anyway, it seems to be something that's worked. There are people who make a living out of doing it, and they seem successful. But again, that might be another magnetically related sense, probably.
Interesting. Yeah, good point. Thank you. Let's go to St. Justin. St. Justin.